Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, I am Shannon and this is One Spark of Magic, and today we are going to be covering some of the newest news and updates of Halloween Horror Nights. I am so excited to bring to you today the announcement of the new shows that are going to be there, and yes, I said plural shows, as well as going through all the scare zones that they've announced. There are so many new things that have been announced, and every time I've gone to make an update video for Halloween Horror Nights, they come up with new announcements. So I have broken it down. So today we're going to be covering all the shows and also all the scare zones. And then every week we're going to be going over each of the different sections of Halloween Horror Nights, including the IP houses, the original houses, food, tickets, tours, the whole shebang. We're going to be going over it every week. But this week, like I said, we're going to be going over all the shows and scare zones. So let's get to it. So if you are new to Halloween Horror Nights, or it's just been a minute since you've been there, a scare zone is an area that you get to walk through, and there's going to be a super theme that goes through the whole entire thing, as well as like all these different ornate like props and scare actors, and it's fantastic and it's terrifying and scary, and if you walk through with a camera they will come to you, so just be prepared for that. I had one following me last year and didn't realize it till I turned around and boom, right in my face. But these are some of the greatest things of Halloween Horror Nights are these scare zones. All right, so there are 4 scare zones. Normally there are 5. However, this year they're adding in some additional street entertainment. So we'll go over that too as we discuss everything today. But first, let's go through these scare zones. All right, so the first scare zone that was announced this year is the Origins of Horror. Now, this is where you're going to walk into the conservatory, which we'll get into in a little bit because that is the central theme of the entire Halloween Horror Nights this year. Now, Universal does describe it as enter a decaying conservatory of twisted vines where artists carve tributes to Halloween Horror Nights 34. You'll encounter monsters, crows, gargoyles, and more. Okay, so this one is definitely going to be at the front of the park. It's got to be because it's getting you into the theme of Halloween Horror Nights. Now, we'll discuss this more when we go over the original house ideas and the stories behind them, because there is a house for this as well. Now, the Universal creatives have announced that the conservatory theme is going to be going throughout the different scare zones and the different houses and throughout the street atmosphere as well. So everything's going to kind of intertwine, which is kind of why I like these vines kind of going through. Like, I'm thinking Stranger Things, vines underneath the ground, everything's connected. Yeah, I'm in the middle of rewatching it for the 6th time, so a lot of things might remind me of Stranger Things. So I'm imagining walking into Universal Studios and going underneath the archway where it says Halloween Horror Nights, which is going to be in blue this year, by the way, and not in red. Walking through that, and you're just going to have these huge giant gargoyles on the sides looking down at you, and you're going to have like these statues, like some of them will actually be statues and some of them will be like scare actors, and you don't know which one. Like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm not sure. Obviously, I don't know what it's going to look like. It hasn't started yet, but that's what I'm picturing in my head with the Origins of Horror. And I just think there's going to be different like monsters and like statues that come to life. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see if I'm right. All right, the next scare zone is Masquerade Dance with Death. Now, this is how Universal describes it. You're invited to a masquerade ball where bloodthirsty vampires lurk behind ornate disguises. When their masks fall, you'll become their prey. So I'm thinking, just based off of other content creators that have been in the parks and seeing the new props being put up already, that I think this one is going to be in the Hollywood area. Maybe. This is really cool. Okay, so it's Vampires Masquerade, and I think it just fits perfectly. One, it's got that gothic theme to it, going back again to the conservatory, making that theme go throughout that, and Masquerade for vampires. Yeah, I mean, they're always trying to disguise themselves as something else so that they can suck your blood. So I think that one's going to be really cool. I think there's going to be tons of scare actors around on this one. Like, I can just imagine it being like this beautiful stained glass that's all around you, and these beautiful vampires with the beautiful masks. And when they take it down, they're just like gross and nasty looking. Like, that's what I think it's going to be. That's what I'm picturing in my mind. So I think that one's going to be really cool. I love anything that has to do with vampires. Now, Universal has done vampire scare zones before, and I've seen them do like the different decades, like 80s, 70s, and I really loved the 70s one. That was really cool. but this one seems like it's going to be a little bit more elevated, a little bit more sophisticated. So I'm actually kind of really excited to see what they're going to do with this one. All right, so third scare zone that we have here. I just love the theme of this one, and I think it might end up being my favorite. This is going to be Mutations Toxic 20s. And Universal describes this one as: in a 1920s neighborhood, a BuzzCon truck with radioactive cargo crashes into a mobster getaway car, sending the city into toxic pandemonium. All right, so first of all, we've got mobsters, we've got girls in flapper dresses, we've got toxic sludge. I'm thinking like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, people changing into different creatures, but like just not cool ones like the turtles, but more like scary, creepy. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I love anything 20s themed. I love Flapper Girls and just the attire of that and the mobster movies. Those are my favorites. So seeing that at Halloween Horror Nights seems super cool. And the only place this really makes sense to be, in my opinion, is going to be the New York section, because mobsters, New York, I mean, in the city, and that is just like a perfect backdrop to this whole toxic 20s. Now, I have seen some of the content creators that are out there every day that live in Orlando and are able to get to the parks every day, showing what has been done. And it also confirms that I think that this is where Toxic 20s is going to be, because how they're setting up the different storefronts and the different props in that area. It's kind of giving me that perspective that Toxic 20s is going to be in the New York section. But this is going to be super cool. I'm imagining like mobsters, like half their face is like in green goo and bubbles, and flapper girls just dancing and with their flapper dresses, but like half their body's like gone. I know, sounds kind of gross, but I mean, it's Halloween Horror Nights Scare Zone. That's what it's supposed to be. And our last scare zone of this year is going to be Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. And Universal describes this one as: travel down a spooky, winding path to a mysterious home where trick-or-treaters are transformed into feral felines. Be careful, or you'll be next. So from the concept art that they put out and the poster, it looks like we're going to have an actual facade of the Cat Lady's house. And also in the poster, you can see the jack-o'-lanterns lining the entire walkway as well as up in the trees. And to me, that screams that it is going to be going all the way down in all the trees, and it's going to look super cool. I can just imagine making the pathways a little bit more narrow so that you have to like wind through, and there's just scare actors like half human, half cat, and then possibly like, how cool would it be if they had like stuff up in the trees that would be like scaring you? Like that would be pretty cool. It'd be terrifying, but it'd be so cool. There also looks to be at the front of the house in the poster, there's like this cauldron that has this like green smoke coming out of it. I can imagine that green smoke going throughout the whole area, like just kind of covering that area, like walking through the fog, just to make it even more creepy and spooky. Let me know in the comments below which of these scare zones you're most excited about. Again, I think the one I'm most excited about is Toxic 20s, but you let me know what you think as well. But we are moving on now to a brand new experience that they're having this year, and that is going to be their street experiences that they have announced for us. Now, so far they have announced 2 different street experiences. I have something in the back of my head that thinks maybe there might be another one, and it might have to do with Five Nights at Freddy's, as in the sense of, I think there is going to be a house plus something else, maybe 2 other things that go with that because they use plural for that, but we'll get into that later. However, what they have announced are 2 different street experiences. The first one is going to be Mel's Die-In Zombies. Now, if you've been to Halloween Horror Nights, you know that Mel's Die-In is one of the most iconic places to take a picture inside of Halloween Horror Nights. Now, during the day, this is Mel's Drive-In, which is a 50s styles diner that you can get your burgers and shakes at. But during Halloween Horror Nights, they block out the R and the V, and it just reads Mel's Die-In. And people love it. I love it. It's iconic for taking pictures, and knowing that you're at Halloween Horror Nights is getting a picture in front of Mel's Die-In. And last year they even had merchandise for Mel's Die-In, and it sold out before I could even get the t-shirt. That's how popular it was. So I am not surprised that they decided to do a street experience with this. Now, several months ago, we noticed that Universal had put out an ad for actors that could also roller skate. So this is what people started thinking, that there was going to be something that was going to be a scare zone or something inside of Mel's Drive-In that was going to be for Halloween Horror Nights, and it was going to be super themed. So putting that together, I think these scare actors, I think there's going to be a ton of them that are going to be on actual roller skates going around. That is going to be terrifying because where are they going to come from? They could be right up on you in any second. I'm going to scream so much, but it's going to be so much fun. I love this entire concept. And to me, I don't know what street experience means. I don't know if it's going to be the same as like a scare zone or if these zombies are going to be throughout the whole park, or if it's just going to be contained to right outside Mel's Dine-In. I'm not sure, but I am really interested to find out. So the next street experience we have is Club Horror. So from the concept art of this one, it's giving me like Miami club vibes to it. So I'm thinking like DJs and flashing lights. They also have these like masquerade bird masks on. So it's kind of also giving me like carnival feels to it. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. This is the only one that I'm kind of like, eh. And the reason why is because I'm assuming there's going to be a DJ, there's going to be loud music, and it's going to be pumping. It's going to be techno bass. So techno music and live DJs, loud music, not really my scene. Call me old. I just never really liked that kind of thing. So this one I'm not looking forward to as much, but I know there's a lot of people out there that would really enjoy this. So I'm really excited just to see this new experience that they're creating for everybody. And last but not least, we also have the brand new shows that they just announced this week. And again, plural S. So we're going to have our iconic traditional Nightmare Fuel. Our constant that we always have, the Nightmare Fuel, is going to be returning again this year. And this year's theme is going to be Circus of Decay. And Universal describes it as: this once vibrant circus has festered into an unending nightmare. It's a sinister spectacle of pyro, aerialists, and illusions. So this is going to be your same cast and same aesthetic, just with a little bit different of a theme. So I'm excited to see what they do with this. This is not something I generally try to get to every year because it's a little risque for my liking, but people love this. This is an iconic thing that like real super HHN fans love and are super excited that it's coming back. It's just so iconic that if it went away, I think people would be really upset. So glad that they have it back for those people. And, I might give it a shot. Maybe, it's a good show and I'll let you guys know, but that is there. But what I am really, 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 really excited about is this brand new show on the Lagoon. I am so excited. So one of my favorite things at Universal is when they do the nighttime lagoon shows with the water and the projections and drones. Now, this one does not say anything about drones in the description, but I'm like hoping that they do have them. But if they don't, not a big deal because their water shows are just fantastic on the lagoon. So this is actually going to be called the Haunt-O-Phonic, a Ghoulish Journey. And now this is how Universal describes it. It's a ghost story is rising from its watery grave to haunt the Universal Studios lagoon, featuring towering water screens and eerie music. That sounds amazing. So it's basically going to be a ghost story being told through music and water, and I am all for this. Universal always does an amazing job at these shows, and the projections on the water are just fantastic, and they are so good at creating the scores for these shows as well that just makes you so immersed into the show itself. So I'm so happy and I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait to see it. Now, one of the other quote unquote shows or streetmosphere, however you want to call it, is the Death Eaters over in the Wizarding World. Universal has not come out and said that they're actually doing this year. However, people have said that they've seen the stage already set up over there in the Wizarding World. So we're very hopeful and optimistic that this is going to be returning. So this is a place that you can go over to the Wizarding World where there's no really like Halloween Horror Nights items in there. Because of the IP and the contract that they have, they cannot actually have like Halloween Horror Nights in there. However, since Death Eaters are part of the Harry Potter world, they will have them come out and be a part of the Halloween Horror Nights. And just as a side note for anybody that is new or going for the first time or just it's been a minute, a great place to go and get kind of away from the Halloween Horror Nights thing. If it becomes a little much for you, you just need a second to be able to breathe before you get screamed and terrified again, is going to be over in the Wizarding World, because the only thing that's usually over there is the Death Eaters. And so you can kind of go over there and just get some peace and quiet, and There's actually not a lot of people that are over there during the nighttime, so one of the times that you're gonna actually see Wizarding World with very little people in it. So that's a little tidbit for you. So yeah, that's our scare zones and our shows and our streetmosphere for Halloween Horror Nights of what's been announced so far. So Halloween Horror Nights isn't just about the scary houses, though I know that is the main draw and the main attraction, but you also have these wonderful scare zones and shows and streetmosphere and street experiences. So don't forget to check those out if you're going to Halloween Horror Nights. I will be going for Premium Scream as well as on a regular night, and hopefully be doing some of the tours as well, and I'd be sharing that here on this channel. So if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button, and if you liked this video and you found it informative, go ahead and the like button too. And I will be posting weekly leading up to Halloween Horror Nights to give you all the tidbits and all the information that has been released. We are still waiting on the last house to be released, so that's why I started with the scare zone, since we already know all of those. I'm really excited to share all that with you, but until next time, I'm Shannon with One Spark of Magic, and I'm wishing you the most magical of days. Toodaloo.